This video is dedicated to you, kind stranger. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Is the hype still warranted 6 years later? Are you missing out if you don't play it? What was the impact in its wake? These are the few questions we will be answering in this video. I will review the full package, including the DLC. Let's begin. Let's start with the DLC. It is essential to buy it to enjoy the game? I would say no. It's an enhancement, but it's not necessary. It is not the story DLC, even though you'll get more quests and enhancements to the gameplay elements. The motorcycle is locked until you finish most of the story in the original game, so you can't get that at the start of the game. Also, the challenge rounds for the Master Sword enhancement is the same. It is an enhancement to the sword itself, improving its damage and durability, but that doesn't mean it won't break, and the recharge time, it's still the same. If you don't need the costumes, extra quest, or the motorbike in the DLC, well, you can skip it without any hesitation. You're not missing much. The review of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The game itself. Is it a perfect game? No, it is not a perfect game. It is near perfection? Yes. Okay, so I play games very weirdly, almost like a game tester. I don't take the road, I go into trenches and explore the ditches around the map. Most open world games, even though they are open world, the fastest way to arrive at an objective is to take the road. Now, don't get me wrong, horses in Breath of the Wild are so unwieldy. Honestly, you're better off without them. The horse can't jump, or if you wanna get it up the stairs, forget about it. Riding on an open field is a joy, but if you're exploring the mountains, well, better go on foot. So I wanted to test Link's prowess and basically explored my way. Walking, running, climbing, gliding, swimming. It is very intuitive and easy. Link already knows all the combat skills present in the game. Since we merge from your shrine, Link has them. You just have to discover them. But Link already has the skills. The only skills you can level up is the Sheikah skills. But that is technically an exterior accessory that helps Link during his adventure. But he himself, as a character, as a person, is already a fine-tuned monster killing machine. There are no XP bars, no grinding for levels, and no mastering skills. Link already is a boss monster. You just have to get used to him being like that. The whole motif of this game is discovery. It is a really nice change of pace from the typical games that put XP bars for everything. Guess that is a curse of Skyrim. The anxiety of seeing a recommended level when you enter a zone in the map, the horror of dying again and again to a recommended boss enemy just because you didn't unlock a specific skill to breeze through. All that extra shit is thrown out of the window. We don't need that. We don't need that. Technically, if you find a good weapon, you can challenge the most difficult boss in the game, a Lionel, with only 3 hearts. Skilled people actually do this. And it's possible. You have to have mad skill and get good, but it's possible. The hearts and stamina represent how much active you can be in a specific span of time. The more you have, the more you can do. The more hearts you have, the more hits you can take. The more stamina rings you have, the more slow motion attacks you can dish out. The more you can do a spin attack. This is why this game resonated with me so much. And I know that it basically revolutionized the gamer's mind for everyone that played this game. The heads-up display, HUD for short, it is efficient, provides enough information, and is not distracting from the game. The HUD is just there for your convenience. It gives plenty of information, but it also gives you the vastness of Hyrule to enjoy and explore. No distractions, just you against the whole wide world, baby. Speaking of world, these worlds, and this one right here, I don't know if you can see it, it's the map of GTA 5. The worlds react to you. The world of Breath of the Wild reacts to your every move. Every swing of the blade has consequences. If you swing your sword in the grass will be cut. If you swing your sword at a tree, that tree will be cut. Although there is a problem with consistency, not all trees can be cut, most probably because of Wii U hardware limitations. Please don't forget that Breath of the Wild is actually a cross-generation game. And not only your actions change the landscape around you, enemies can do that too. Enemies can actually light up the grass to trap you in an inferno. Bokoblins can actually light their weapons on fire, come at you with malicious intent. Since they swing their sword, you cut it, but since their weapon is on fire, they basically set the grass on fire. You're taking damage from that fire, but also it creates winds, so you can use the paraglider to make a desperate escape and regroup. When enemies swing their lance desperately to try and kill you, the grass will be cut. I know I'm making a big deal out of this, but you have no idea how much this actually means to me. You the player. Every actions that you take has consequence. Every actions that you take can change the landscape. It is something that is rarely applied in video games because it actually makes you think that you exist and interact with the world in a meaningful, everlasting way that not all games can replicate. There is also the feeling of being small. In previous Zelda games, the size of the avatar of Link you see right in front of you was bigger, was more zoomed in. The screen was focused more at the back of this character we call Link and his actions. Now, in Breath of the Wild, Link feels much smaller. The anatomy feels smaller. I think that Link is actually an adolescent in the game by how small he is. He gives off a very boyish vibe than the previous games. Maybe it's just me. There is no field of view, FOV for short. There is no FOV slider you can play around with the camera stick. So unfortunately, we can't change that. To basically get the camera closer to Link, it is more distanced. You are more distant from Link than in any other Zelda game. You can jerk around with the camera and make it move, be closer to Link, but you have to have like specific angles. It's not a seamless experience. Freedom is the main characteristic of Breath of the Wild. While Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword were a linear story, linear game, you follow a path to save the princess. Majora's Mask was, I might say, an underrated experiment of making side quests focus of the game. Breath of the Wild doesn't care what you do, when you do it, how are you doing that thing as long as you complete the main objective: destroy Ganon. Simple, yet so complex. I didn't attempt to go directly to Ganon, but there are many YouTubers out there who tried this challenge, and it is doable. Check out Mr. A Game. This channel has a fantastic video about this, and yeah, you might learn something new. Okay, let's go back to our topic. I love this. Freedom. Freedom to do anything you want. You don't like the story? Fine. Don't seek Link's memories. You don't like traversing the map? There is fast travel. That works. Also horses, reindeers, and motorbikes. But we already talked about that. Gameplay is king in this game. The difficulty, well, is there. The fact that your weapon breaks, it gives casual gamers too much anxiety. Look, I also like to play with a couple of weapons most of the game, but the way the game forces you to change your strategy to use of what you can harvest from the wild, it is a brave mechanic. I think that this weapon breaking mechanic is the only negative thing that people have argued with this game. Me personally, I'm neutral. I get it. I don't seek it, and it can be refined because I love some of the weapon designs in the game, but knowing that some of them will break and the pain to just find them again, it's not worth it. So I rarely use them, which basically just negates the whole thing of the game to not use a weapon and basically use just the weapons you're willing to lose. I don't see the logic in that. I mean, then again, that's how I play, and that's, I think, how most people play who have this issue. I have like some favorite weapons that I just keep them, especially the amiibo weapons. Let's dive deeper to the stamina bar. The stamina bar, which ties to the traversal capabilities of our beloved hero, recharges fast, can be augmented with some potions, and the fact that you can climb basically anything that is not between 140 and 180 degrees is just mind-blowing. I want this mechanic to be present in all of the games. I still remember playing Oblivion and Skyrim, activating cheats so I can just go over the mountains. Look, granted, I clipped through them, I went through them, and it was not a pleasant experience because it was just dark everywhere. I just went through the mountain. The map was nothing. It was nothing. Now in Breath of the Wild, I find mushrooms on the side of the mountains. Sometimes I find enemies on top of the mountain, stone taluses, or other random enemies. Even some architectural ruins just sit there, just waiting to be explored. Some caves, a river. It is wonderful for explorers such as myself. And look, I hate beaten paths. I take my way in every game. And fortunately, this game, I don't have to break it so I can play it my way. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild respects me as a gamer and trusts me that I know how to play video games. The feeling of discovery is present, like I said, in the overworld, but it's also present in the shrines, the puzzle. And look, there are 120 shrines out there. Some of them are good, some of them are annoying, and some of them are nice. They're varied in scope and difficulty. Completing the shrines are again not necessary, but if you want to have that sweet traditional Zelda outfit, you know what I mean, the green tunic, another reward. If you're feeling that the game is punishing and you need to take more hits, you gotta do the shrines, because you get the points where you can just augment your health and stamina. Things that I don't like that much in this game is the collection aspect of the game. You know what I'm talking about, those little we call Korok seeds. Spoiler alert, That's what they are. Now I get it. We need storage to have weapons, shields, arrows, bows, whatever. And also you have a big map filled with basically nature. So what better way to incentivize the player to search for in every nook and cranny of the map is to fill that empty world with stuff. So the developers thought, let's hide a ton of these Korok seeds in the wild just to upgrade that sweet inventory. Well, now that I think about it, well, given the fact that you cannot keep your favorite weapon, shield, bow, you don't need to find all these mischievous Koroks. Actually, if I think about it, everything in this game is optional. If you want to expand your weapon inventory, you can totally do it. But since every weapon breaks, except for the Master Sword, you don't need to have such a big inventory. That's kind of genius. Another thing that I hate about this game is the fact that you don't have a chest at your house. Yes, spoiler alert, Link has a house, but only has a few display cases where you can display your weapons, but you can't store stuff inside. Why? You can't transfer your junk, your equipment, all that sweet loot from your dead enemies. I don't like that. I don't like that. They could have just put a chest in the house like every other RPG and it would have been better. I think people would still, even like the whole complaining about weapons being breakable, would have subsided a little bit more because you can just store it. In the current game, the current way, you can only store 3 shields, 3 swords, and 3 bows. That's it. It's not a lot. I want more. Another nitpick that I have, motion puzzles. Look, if you're playing in portable mode, this is just wrong. Just don't do it. Don't do it. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's story is a story told through gameplay. There are no cutscenes, no hour-long dialogues, no expositions. Even the memories, which are basically the story, are optional. The memories themselves, the cutscenes, they don't last long, and they offer kind of like a behind the scenes how things were before the calamity, Ganon's appearance. I won't spoil the story of a 6-year-old game just because with this one, you know, it's already a timeless classic. And I want you to experience it for yourself. And the other reason is that the story is not much, to be honest. It can be summarized in a couple of sentences. You decide if that's right or wrong. Alright then, we're nearing the finish line. Let's touch on the 4 elements which will grade the game. Graphics and art style. These two are on point. The scope of the map with its physics engine that glues everything, the whole thing to perfection. Yes, it is annoying when it's rainfall and you slip if you climb. Yes, it has annoying ragdoll if you blow yourself off the mountain, you know, not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. The art style is kind of in between Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time. I love how the anatomy of the characters are portrayed and it feels consistent throughout the game. For performance, I had no issues playing the game. There are no frame rate dips throughout my gameplay. I have to mention, but I exclusively played and finished this game in portable mode. And aside from the Korok Forest, where everything was like chugging, it was chugging, everything else smooth. Look, I'm not Digital Foundry to provide an accurate assessment of the resolution and whatever, but if you play on a OLED Switch, you won't regret it. It is the definitive way to play, in my opinion.
The vistas are breathtaking.
The gameplay is just legendary. I mentioned the physics engine in art direction, and I will touch a little bit here as well. Sometimes loot may fly away from you if the wind is blowing. The realism, sometimes it is too much. It is entertaining to blast away enemies with bombs. Please don't forget when you play the game to use all of the functionalities of the game. The gimmicks that the game provides are the Sheikah skills. Don't forget to use stasis on an enemy if you're feeling overwhelmed, to just be like, hold up, pause for a second. I need time out. Don't forget, if you're in front of an enemy encampment, use magnesis to see what's going on there. Maybe you can find a metal box and you can just drop one on them. Who would have thought? With the magnesis, you can also steal their weapons so that if they become alert to you, they won't have anything to fight and they will just throw rocks at you. Is also vital if you just somehow are searching for treasure, because there's treasure underneath the ground. I found so many treasure chests just sitting in the ground. Bombs are your friend. Don't forget that you have 2 instances of the bombs. Don't be afraid to create mayhem and traps. I sometimes just forget about these things and just get foolishly terminated by enemies because they gang up on you. So don't forget about this. It will make your gameplay experience much more fulfilling. And last but not least, is it fun? Well, the fun factor doesn't come from how the story is presented. Like, for example, God of War, or The Last of Us games, or even Ocarina of Time. The fun element comes from the exploration and discovery. I don't want to get emotional, but when I played Breath of the Wild, I was in a pivotal period in my life. I thought that games were not fun anymore. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is really a breath of fresh air, letting Hyrule become my playbox and let me discover every nook and cranny of the world at my pace, my way. It invigorated me and gave me hope that gameplay, it is indeed king. It is king in gaming, and it will be till the end of time. The game is worth your time and the game is worth your money. Buy it full price, or if you can buy it discounted from various brick and mortar shops like GameStop or which ones you have in your country. Nintendo recently did a digital 33% off discount for Breath of the Wild and its DLC. Even full price, it is worth the money. Now onto the grades, because people love it when you give a score. So let's see. Graphics and art style, a 9. Performance, 8. Gameplay, 10. And fun, 10. Overall, the score for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is 9.5. So close to perfection. The final score is not an average of the separate reviewed elements, but the game as a whole. A gift wrapped nicely by the developers for us, gamers. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is the first review that was basically asked by this amazing person right here. Comment down below which review do you want to see next. I'm planning on refining this formula, but please give me more time. I just want to thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found something interesting and informative. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Nitpick review. Thanks for watching.